This is Valley News Live at noon.
Well, the weather just keeps on warming up, and a little birdie told me the weather could be beautiful this weekend. But let's check in with Summer Snellbach. Hey, Summer.
Hey, Brian, I'm going to guess that I'm the little birdie who told you that. But things have been looking gorgeous all week long, and good news, it's only getting better. And one of my personal favorite things about the last week have been our beautiful sunrises. Skies have been clear along with just a few passing clouds all week long. This morning, not a cloud in the sky here in South Fargo on our Coronado Skycam, giving us that beautiful picture-perfect picture. Right now on our Luther Family Ford Skycam, also in Fargo, the skies are still bright blue. And take a look at our temperatures. 45 at this hour in Fargo, 44 in Grand Forks, 43 in Thief River Falls, Bemidji, and in Devil's Lake, 41 at this hour in Detroit Lakes. We did have a little bit of morning fog out towards Jamestown and Oaks, and now crawling at the bottom of your screen, you can see that the advisory for Browns County has just now been expired, but we're still seeing a little bit of fog up towards the Minot area. Satellite and radar is clear today. This area here is the fog that is continuing to diminish this afternoon. And we're seeing just a few clouds move in towards Lake of the Woods. Our wind today has been nice and light as well. Most of us, we're seeing calm winds. Now we're still seeing those winds less than 10 miles per hour. What we're watching the rest of the weekend and into Monday is very mild temperatures between 40 and 60 degrees. A chance of some rain showers possible on Tuesday. And Brian, we're still keeping a close eye on a system that might bring a little bit of snow by Wednesday.
If it does decide to bring the snow, that's why we're being teased with this warm temperatures.
Full spring, as we say, right?
My favorite new term. Thanks, Summer. Well, 2 people are dead after a head-on crash in central North Dakota, and criminal charges are possible. The Highway Patrol says it happened yesterday around Anamoose in McHenry County. Now, troopers say the driver of a pickup pulled into the opposite lane to pass a semi when he hit a minivan head-on. The minivan rolled into the ditch and killed a 49-year-old woman from Martin, North Dakota, and her 55-year-old passenger. The 29-year-old driver of the pickup from Harvey, North Dakota, was flown to Minot for treatment. No names are being released until relatives are notified. A stolen car suspect is in jail after a chase through Grand Forks. Police tried pulling over the driver of a stolen car yesterday afternoon. They say he initially stopped, then took off again, then during the pursuit hit another car at a busy intersection along South Washington. Officers finally stopped the car using a pit maneuver and arrested 30-year-old Bryce Gamboa of Grand Forks for possession of stolen property, reckless endangerment in driving, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Police say no one was hurt during the chase. A former State Department aide during the Trump administration has been arrested in connection with the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol. Now, Frederico Klein was arrested Thursday by the FBI in Virginia. Government records show Klein worked on Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, and he was hired at the State Department in January 2017. An FBI spokesperson referred further questions to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. An emailed request for comment from the office was not immediately returned Thursday night. The State Department did not immediately respond to a request for comment. A new study is shedding light on COVID-19 hospitalizations during the first 6 months of the pandemic. Researchers looked at over 190,000 adults who were hospitalized with COVID between March and August of last year. 52% were men, 43% were white, and 65% had Medicare or Medicaid insurance. The most common underlying conditions were high blood pressure, diabetes, and obesity. People over 80 years old and those admitted to the ICU were more than likely to die in the hospital. A Dutch inventor is now testing a possible new way to screen for coronavirus infections and creating a bit of an uproar. CBS's Tina Koss explains from London.
The unpleasant nature of a COVID test is enough to make some people flinch. Others can't help but scream. A method being trialed in the Netherlands requires people to let out a shout or a song inside an airlocked cabin to give inventor Peter Van Wees enough potential germs to test for COVID-19.
If you are spreading and yelling and screaming, you're spreading tens of thousands of particles which contains the coronavirus.
An industrial air purifier creates a whirlwind in the booth and collects particles to be analyzed.
If someone is infectious with the coronavirus, the numbers of that specific diameter will go way up.
3 minutes after he hollered, Ismail James got some good news.
You believe it's coronavirus?
He's told it's not COVID, just a cold.
It's always very nice to scream when nobody can hear you though. And yeah, I think it's a good way of meditation as well.
The ear piercing technique is still being perfected. Until then, all that crying out can be used as COVID therapy. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
The creator of the Cuba virus protector hopes the machine could one day be used as a potential screening tool at concerts, airports, and offices. Well, 200 Johnson & Johnson vaccines are making their way to Essentia next week. With the addition of the J&J vaccine, Essentia will be able to provide a great allocation of vaccines with Pfizer and Moderna. Essentia is still vaccinating people that are 65 years of age and living in their service area. This is regardless of whether the person is an Essentia patient or not. There are immediate appointment times available, and starting today, patients can utilize their MyChart account to make an appointment. Sanford is also receiving 2,000 J&J vaccines for distribution. Moorhead High School students are set to return back to full in-person learning, and on Monday, they'll be welcomed with new signage and patterns they must follow. The mask must be worn at all times, completely covering their nose and mouth. Hand sanitizing stations are set up, and social distancing will continue. Students will scan QR codes at lunch tables for contact tracing purposes. Officials say having these students back in school, interacting with teachers, will bring back their learning curve.
Kids really need that social aspect in their lives, and I think having the opportunity to not just be with friends, but have interactions with adults and be able to ask an adult in person when you have a question about something tends to be a better way of learning for most kids.
Lauren says staff will be on hand to help any student with first day jitters. Now, SeaWorld and Busch Gardens locations are open. SeaWorld Parks in Orlando, San Antonio, and San Diego, and Busch Gardens Tampa Bay and Williamsburg are welcoming guests again. And the Adventure Island Water Park opens for the season tomorrow. All locations are following state and local COVID-19 health guidelines. These protocols and guidelines will be modified based on evolving industry standards and methodologies, public health, and governmental directives. Now, if you're a fan of the outdoors or need some equipment for your next camping trip, the Sportsmans Show this weekend has you covered. Now, at the Fargo Dome, attendees can explore the displays of boats, RVs, pop-up campers, and so much more. You even get to...
We kind of retrenched to the family. So the family bought a pontoon, or they got a camper, they went to campgrounds. These are places that are outside. They're really safe with the whole COVID situation.
The show will go until 9 tonight, from 10 in the morning to 9 at night tomorrow, and from 10 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon on Sunday. Full pricing can be found on valleynewslive.com. Well, coming up at noon, has the pandemic made you want more space around the house? If so, you may not be alone. In just a few minutes, we'll take a look at the rise in house buying. Plus, these warm temperatures are a bit of a teaser, but hey, who's complaining? Weather up next with Summer Snowball.
Bison play Missouri State, Saturday at 2 on KVLY.